Match1, NS Hosa, Axiom Acer, MVP, FX Open, LGIM, AZUBU, Prime, StarTale.
Life came out, he did what he needed to do, he took out Symbol, and an interesting choice is the response. It's San, and I think he's probably have a trick up his sleeve for Life. There's no way he's going to try to play this guy straight up.
I actually completely agree with you. I think that he definitely prepared a strategy and is one of the players that has been trained to be a sniper to take out a player like Life or Curious. I feel with two really strong Zerg players on the lineup of StarTale, it's one of the inevitable things that you have to do. You have to prepare one or two players, if not for a specific opponent, then at least for a specific matchup. And I think that San is most likely one of them. So I'm really sure that we will see a specific build played by him.
Yeah, I think so. I'm looking forward to it. The map is Belcher Vestige, an easy map to take a third base on. We have seen a lot of airplay on this map, so we could see something like that. We could see a timing attack from San. It's not really his style. This is the guy who took Nest T out in a Protoss vs. Zerg so long ago in a group. I don't even remember what season that was. It was a long time ago with a crazy late game with the Mothership. San is a smart late game Protoss vs. Zerg player, but against Life is on just another level entirely. He's the best player in the world.
Yeah, he definitely is, and he has shown it over and over again. Now he is 4-0 in the GSTL already after he 3-killed in the last match that StarTale played. So he is definitely in a role here, and let's see if San can do something about it. His team is having high hopes that he is the one who can take out Life, but on Belcher Vestige we'll find out if this is justified. If Life is the one who's going to take it, or if San can actually take him down.
Life currently undefeated this season in GSTL, not a single loss. A master player, someone they send out whenever they need everybody else to be cleaned up. He does not lose. Can San take just one map against this incredible player?
Life won MLGs back-to-back. He won a GSL Code season already. He is such an accomplished player at such a young age. Kid is only 16 years old. Just crazy. San, on the other hand, he's a little bit older. He's 22. A lot more life experience, but when it comes down to StarCraft 2, he is the one who has some catching up to do.
Definitely so. This is going to be a tough match for San. Against his young opponent, Life. The map is up and loaded. Belcher Vestige. What sort of strategy is San going to show us today? It has to be a timing. It has to be a tricky build. I do not believe there's any way you can play late game against Life.
It's just such a huge risk if you try to best Life in a macro game. So you have to have something up your sleeve. You could also see Atos, you know, you could just try to turtle on like 3 bases, maybe even take a 4th and go into an Atos play. A very strong style against Zerg. But do you really want to do this against Life? If you miss one of your timings, if you are vulnerable at one point in the game, Life is the one who is going to identify it, will exploit it and take you down. We are jumping into the game. We'll find out what's going to happen in the GSTL Season 1 2013. StarTale vs. AZUBU, Life vs. San. Brought to you by Kowloon. The GSTL season powered by BenQ. And starting to the bottom right, player for Team StarTale, their savior. He was able to take down Symbol. Can he take down San? This is
StarTale Life.
That wouldn't be Life without an opponent, though. There's an opponent to the top left. In the blue, a Frost player. An interesting choice for AZUBU. He is
AZUBU San.
After Symbol, it is now San who has to bring in the points for his team. They are still up 2-1. But when Life is unleashed, that's when things get serious. That's when, as an opposing team, you have to find a way to take him out.
Yeah, not an easy task. You know, San is a player who in the past, like I said, has shown great late game Protoss vs. Zerg, but not as dominant as he once was years ago. See if he can make it work. He's going out for an early scout here. He will actually be able to see everything his opponent's doing.
He wants to know what's going on. He wants to make sure that there's no early hatch of Life as soon as the Zerg player sees the probe coming in. He knows that the times of starting with the hatch first here are gone. It's still a risk. It's something that players might do on certain maps, depending on if there is a scout or not. But with the probe already hovering around, you know for a fact that you won't be able to place down a hatch first. Not if your opponent actually pays attention to what you're doing.
Certainly. And as we see here, pool gets dropped. And, you know, I'm thinking at this point, San is just going to go into forward for Nexus, play it cautiously here. Well, he doesn't get the block off on the hatch.
Yeah. Oh, that is bad. That is really not what you want to happen. He started with the Nexus first, so I think it could have been worse, but still.
Yeah, that could have been much worse. We'll drop the Forge now. 17 here at 150 mineral mark. And this is all, of course, seen by Life as well with his Overlord. If I'm Life, I'm playing cautious against San right now.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? I mean, in this situation, it's definitely a scenario where you want to be like taking things a little bit slower, not being overly aggressive in the early game, not taking any chances and gambling here. So Life is playing a very solid style. But for San, it's of course annoying. What you want to do as a Protoss is to delay the hatch of your opponent for as long as possible, and every second actually counts. These are timings that if you are able to disrupt them, it will snowball a little bit, and your opponent will be off at some point. So the third is now coming in, and San of course wants to just make sure that he sees the hatch going down, but he already assumes that there is going to be a third base, and he values the life of this probe a little bit more than actually seeing the third base.
Exactly. Sends the probe back. Will be able to escape, just barely losing some shields right now. It's already more than halfway back.
Exactly. Chances would have been that if you would have tried to go to the bottom left to see the hatch actually being built, that he would have lost the probe, and he's like, well, I don't want to really risk it. Let's just go up and save the harvester.
Yep. At this point, San starts his core. He has the gases up, and this is the question on everyone's mind. What tech is San going to show? Is he going to show an Immortal push? Is it going to be a Void Ray all-in? Or is he just really going to, on this map, the map that's so good to take a third base on, going to just go right for a fast third?
Yeah, there are certainly a lot of things that he could do in this scenario. He could just try to go for the first third, as you already said. Usually we see Robotics and also Twilight Council if you want to do it, so that you have the blink early on in the game, and you also want a few Immortals out there in case your opponent tries to just build a massive amount of roaches and throws them against you. But we have seen so many different strategies in Protoss versus Zerg these days. Especially with the Mothership Core, you know, there are so many aggressive timings that you can use, and then you just recall back. Exactly. That's something that a lot of Protoss players still don't use.
Yeah, it hasn't quite been fully explored yet, I guess you could say. But there is the Mothership Core. It's out early. And it's going to take some time to build up the energy, but with it out this early, he can do a lot of things with recall. He's adding double gases now. He does not have +1, which makes it look less and less like we're going to see a gateway attack initially, and there's the Stargate you guys can see on the production tab.
Yeah. So talking about the recall a little bit more, this is actually something that I wanted to point out again. One of the things that Protoss players have been struggling with in Wings of Liberty is that every single time they go for timing, it's a very all-in-ish strategy. They all in with their units because as soon as they try to retreat, the chances are there that the Zerg with speed is going to chase them down, is going to surround them, force a fight, and if the Protoss player loses his units, he's far behind.
Exactly. Now the Mothership Core will actually directly battle the Queen here, and with the help of the Zealot walking across the map, he may be able to kill it. If he baits the Queen out correctly, just tanks some of the shots there with the hit points, the Zealot actually could, with the Mothership Core's help, take this Queen out. It's going to be close. A lot of links coming down. He should be able to get this one. The second Queen's a bit too far away.
The Queen cannot move down from the creep, or it will be too slow, but as you can already see, the Mothership Core is down in HP. It might actually just die.
That was a really risky move by San, who's now going into Oracle. So that's why I want to get that Queen down so badly, so the Oracle can come in and finish it off. Or if there's no Queen, kill a bunch of drones. This is not a matchup where you often see Oracle openings, or something because the Queen is such a good anti-air unit, but with the Mothership Core used like that, he damages the Queen, he gives himself a better opportunity.
Exactly, he can take out the Queen and can move on to take down additional Harvesters here. And San is also getting a lot of gateways right now with a +1 attack upgrade, so he is in a position where he can be very aggressive.
And Life looks like he wants to do an all-in. He's making a ton of Zerglings right now, 11 roaches on the way as well, so this Oracle Harass is not going to be the biggest problem he's ever faced.
He still has a decent economy on his 3 bases, but he definitely has the potential of moving in. And here comes the Oracle with the Mothership Core, taking out Harvesters and Queens, as already mentioned earlier.
And
but
most importantly, he sees the all-in as well. He sees the roaches coming through.
Yeah, now the units are on their way to the top right. So he needs to make sure that he reinforces his wall. He doesn't have a lot of sentries, but he's morphing in, or warping in 3 right now for this particular reason.
Exactly. He's got the sentries down. He doesn't want to make cannons. He knows he doesn't have enough time for that. He's just going to try to get the pylons up and get Void Rays out with Immortals. If he can hold just a little bit longer with good force fields, he should be able to hold here.
The Void Ray, of course, exceptionally good, especially against those roaches that we have now on the map. But here comes Life. He's trying to battle through, trying to break this wall and run in with those Zerglings.
Yeah, and the force fields are going to be key here. He needs to make sure they are perfect. Hits it immediately at the last second there. He needs to get an Immortal out. The Mothership Core is on its way back. He wants to hit that cannon.
The Oracle is already helping out. There's the Mothership, and at the same time, the Void Ray is doing damage now with the overcharge.
Yeah, and there is the cannon on the Nexus, and it looks like he's actually going to hold this with flying colors at this point.
Yeah, this doesn't really look good for Life. He did not do enough damage here. He's trying to go through, but he tries to at least take down the sentries now that he realizes that he won't be able to completely annihilate the Protoss player.
That was actually worth it. I respect this choice to go back in there and grab that sentry like that. And if you look at Harvesters, it's 55 to 49 in favor of San. San could comfortably take a third base now because he knows one of two things is going to happen. Either Life is going to just go for another all-in, and then he just has to defend his third, or he's going to drone up behind this and try to catch up.
Life is now still on 3 bases, and he's droning up already, but San is going for additional probes. He wants to take a third base in this scenario. He's just not in a position where he's 100% sure that he can take it.
Right, and this is so smart that he goes for the robotic support bay, because Hydralisks are one way you can drone up a little bit, but then also have an aggressive timing to hit your opponent's third base. So there's a smart choice by Life, but it's already been pre-figured out by San. San makes the robotic support bay before the Nexus just to be safe, and the one Phoenix is actually killing these Overlords that are rallied with the attack.
Yeah, the Overlord is already about to go down. The third base is being placed down to the top right. The Queen saving the Overlord, at least for now, but
oh, he ran away too soon. He could have gotten it.
I'm not quite sure if he moved in again, exactly.
Yeah, I think he lost, or he didn't lose it. Yep, Phoenix not getting killed. So well done by Life, at least a good attempt to save the Overlord.
Those Hydralisks could give him a huge problem. The Protoss player, that is. Even though we have now Colossi on the move, the problem really is that the range upgrade will be done very, very late in the game. Same, on the other hand, is true for Life. As long as he doesn't have the range upgrade for those Hydralisks, the Colossi still outrange the Hydralisks.
Extremely sloppy by San here losing that Mothership Core. That is crucial in his defense. He absolutely needed that to be able to charge up that Nexus. That was a huge key factor in his defense, and he lost it. He was not paying attention.
Yeah, no photon overcharge for him later on.
That's massive that he doesn't have that. That would have been a biggest part of his defense here.
Oh, the force fields! He's getting all those sentries. He's taking them down one by one. The Hydralisks are moving in, closing the distance. The rest of the sentries is exposed, but San at this point has enough to throw his opponent back. The reinforcements, on the other hand, those are gonna go to town.
Yeah, they are going to town. They target down the Colossus. He needs to pull it back, and he does. The Immortal doing some great extra damage here. Great micro on that Colossus, though, getting its maximum damage out before it falls down.
Yeah, but the Colossus falls in the end, and more units are streaming across the map. Another Roach Force is already assembling, and suddenly Life is 20 supply ahead of his opponent.
He needs to pull back behind that wall, you know, use that cannon, use that wall to his advantage. The second Colossus comes out here.
He really needs it.
Oh, he certainly does. The Void Ray comes back to help as well. Charging up, using that laser on those Void Rays, pushing them back. I mean, on the Roaches, that is to say.
Prismatic alignment has been used here, the overcharge ability for the Void Ray, and it certainly does a lot of damage. The armored units here don't stand a chance, but Life is trying to move in again. He has a few Hydras with his push. He could try to take the Void Ray out.
He's trying. He's pushing forward a little bit more. That Colossus at the back has the range. He picks up the Hydra with the Phoenix. Is so smart.
Really well done here. Takes down the light armored units, and the Roaches alone, they can't do enough damage.
San has done it, man. He's got way more Harvesters than 69 Harvesters to 53. His third base is untouched.
And Wolfie has more supply, not only in regards to the Harvester supply, but overall supply is now much better for San. He's on 3 bases against 3 bases. The creep spread is horrible for Life. He was trying to take out the Protoss player early in the game, and he did not succeed.
He's even continuing to send Zealots over to this base. The Roaches accidentally attacking the rocks here, not helping him out. He will actually finally clean those Zealots up, but this has been a huge problem for Life this entire game. Always the constant run by Zealots actually going to look like they may get one more Roach. And meanwhile, he's going for a big attack. He knows that some sort of tech switch might catch him off guard. In this case, it's Mutas, but he's not going to let that happen. He's just going to kill him.
It's really smart what he does. He goes into the Twilight Council. Of course, he wants to have the extra upgrades, but as soon as he has Blink, he's going to be fairly safe against Mutalisks with another round of Warp-ins. The big problem really is for Life right now that he doesn't have an answer to this push. Double Colossus with range, and there are no Vipers, there are no Corruptors, there is nothing.
He doesn't even have range for Colossi. I mean, for Hydras.
Exactly. He has nothing to contest this. This looks like San is able to pull it off.
It looks like it. The hatchery is definitely going to die. The Phoenixes can help out, pick up a few Hydras if he wants. The drone's stuck behind here, trying to help out. A nice time warp, and there's no way, as you said, that he's going to hold this push.
No chance. Not against double Colossus without Corruptors or Vipers or anything else. Especially when you're down in army supply.
Third Colossus shows up.
Exactly. The third Colossus is there, a little bit out of position, but this is it.
GG.
Life has been taken out. San was sent out by Team AZUBU. They trusted in his ability to take out the Zerg player, the star player for Team StarTale, and he has done it.
He has been the first player to defeat Life in the season of GSTL, and he puts his team into a 3-1 victory. And San is not the player I think that StarTale was expecting to be seen going, we've only got one player left, we got to go through San first.
Life was playing very aggressive in this series, and the key moment was when San was able to defend for the second time. The Hydra push was not effective. He also didn't get the range upgrade. I actually think it was a mistake that he realized later when he started it again. You always want to have this range upgrade.
That really hurt him.
Yeah, he realized it a little bit later, but as I already said, when you have double Colossus as a Protoss and you push out, your opponent doesn't have a response with the Spire with Corruptors or a fast Hive Tech into, let's say, Vipers, or on the other hand, at least a few Locusts out with the Swarm Host, then you don't have a response. You just don't have anything. The only thing that you can rely on are good flanks. And he was already down in army supply, so flanks are not the one thing that he can rely on.
Yeah, he was basically the army that was coming out from spawning out of the eggs. Like, he didn't have the opportunity to prepare its location because it was just spawning at that moment to come and defend. I'm feeling right now Sound is your guy. He's already all killed before. He's somebody you can rely on. He's somebody who can take multiple points on the board.
Curious is also.
Curious is the second pick for me, but I have to say, I think Sound overall, as far as Team League goes and his experience, taking out multiple players, yeah, he did it last time starting, but I think he could be your man here.
I would agree with you. I would send out Sound first and then rely on... well, actually, to be honest, it's the last player already.
Yeah, it's the last player, so they can only pick one.
It took my mind for a second. I was back in the best-of-9 format that we had in the last seasons, but of course the system has changed a little bit. But now we have best-of-7s. That's actually a really good point, so now we have to make a choice.
Yeah.
And this is not an easy choice to make if your player has to defeat 3 opponents. Sound all killed already during the season, so he might be the guy that he sent out right now. Curious, of course, is also a very good option.
Yeah, you know, Curious is probably who they were thinking that they needed to send out last if they're going to send Life out this early. But now they're in a desperate situation where Life came out and lost after his first win. Yeah, I think Sound is somebody who's got versatility in all matchups. He's, you know, Curious is great Zerg versus Protoss. If I want to take out San, I want Curious here.
I actually think the Terran player would be a sound choice in this situation.
Absolutely, man. I'm really curious, though, to find out if they choose him or the Zerg player.
Yeah. We're going to find out in just a second, but of course for Team StarTale it's going to be very difficult right now, being already down 2 games and relying on a last player, whereas on your opponent's bench there are still opponents like Violet, you have to face Ganzi, you might have to face Genius later on.
Yeah.
Might have to face even Eve if things get really desperate for Team AZUBU. So there are a lot of things that they have to consider now making the choice of the last player.
Yeah, and I think it's going to take them a little while to just kind of let this sink in, going, wow, Life lost here. You know, when you send out a player, you usually have somebody else out in mind if they lose, but probably just thinking, that probably won't happen, and now suddenly it's a reality that they're facing, and they're just sitting there having to figure this out.
You at least expect Life to take 2 wins. I mean, when was the last time Life came actually out where he didn't take at least 2 opponents down? Well, I feel...
Well, he's never lost this season, so...
Well, we had him in the preseason where he also lost, so... wasn't the preseason or was it last... I actually think it was the preseason, the game where they had Parting and Life come out and both of them lost. I think that was the preseason that I currently remember. So, yeah, that's definitely true. But still, these days with him just beating the best players in the entire world, left and right, you expect him to take 1 or 2 maps. Actually, like 2 more than 1. So, in this situation, the StarTale coach is looking at it as like, well, I'm not quite happy with what's going on here.
Yeah, the strategy that we saw from San was solid. The map is DMZ, and who are they going to send to the border? Curious!
It is Curious, another Zerg player, and he looks ready.
San is smiling. Curious is, in my opinion, the best Zerg versus Protoss player on their bench. I think he may even be better at Life at that matchup.
Yeah, the problem for him really is that this is not the only matchup that he has to play today. This AZUBU coach is already thinking about the next guy that he's going to send out right now, in case that Curious is able to defeat San.
Yeah.
Curious, of course, Cores, his GSL ranking is currently 3. This is a monster. This guy is so good, and it's going to be quite interesting to see what San can do against him, because right now, it's actually Curious map choice.
Yeah, it is his map choice. DMZ is the choice, and he knows that no matter what, he's going to have to go all the way. DMZ is a pretty good map for Zerg. I think it's a balanced map overall. We see a lot of players picking it in the GSTL already.
And just looking at Curious, you know that he realizes that the hopes of his team are relying on his shoulders. This is not only about getting the win alone, it's about getting as many map wins as possible so that you have a good indicator at the end of the season.
Yeah. Oh man, this is tense. San showing some great defensive play against Life. Curious though, he is the master of late game. He'll make more support crawlers than you can count if he has to.
Well, right now we actually have the new tab that Blizzard introduced with Out of the Swarm, so we actually have the structure counting tab.
Yeah, luckily we don't have to count that anymore.
Exactly. So, because in Wings of Liberty, you're certainly right. I mean, that was beyond counting. The games that he played, especially against Creator on, what was the map? Ohana was the map where he placed like a gazillion Spine and Spore Crawlers. But now at least we have Blizzard helping us out a little bit in this regard.
Yeah. You know, you can't always count spores, but you can always count on Blizzard to listen to feedback and make the game better. Map is loading. DMZ. Oh man, this is what it all comes down to. StarTale. This is just the beginning of Curious. He has to defeat multiple players. He has to kill 3 players in order to get the win for the team.
But of course, the one thing that he definitely wants to do is win 1 or 2 maps so that the indicator is a little bit better at the end of the season. Here we have both of them. Curious looks ready. He looks determined to take on his opponent. A stone cold killer about to face a deadly Protoss.
Yep. San means in Korean mountain, and he's going to have to face the mountain. That's basically what happened. The wind blew, but the mountain held last game. No matter how hard the wind blows, San will be there. See if Curious is just going to erode him away, though, in the late game.
We are getting ready for the match, ladies and gentlemen. This is the GSTL, the first season 2013. We're getting ready for this game. It might be the last one today. It might be the last game if StarTale goes down, if AZUBU wins out victory with a 4-2-1. But San, he is in a position where he has another strong Zerg player up against him. And this time it's his opponent's map choice.
Yeah, all he has to do is win one last game and it's all over. AZUBU takes it exactly what they want. This is an important match for them. DMZ is the map of choice of Curious. Can he start the comeback? Let's find out right now. This is the GSTL 2013 Season 1, casted by Caldor and Wolf.